A very good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business with our television. I'm Shalindri Fernando and let's have a look at the headlines first. A special division will be set up at the Supreme Court to hear the appeals from the Commercial High Court, Justice Minister reveals. Lawmakers question as to how the Litro gas officials avoided the COPA hearings. Now for the news in detail. Director General of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, Pasan Wanigasekara, says that Sri Lanka has the record of the highest GDP per capita in the South Asian region for the last 10 years. Addressing at the special session for Indian investors, BAY Director General explained why Indians should invest in Sri Lanka.
Let me introduce you to the hidden gem of Asia, a land of growth and opportunity. Let me explain why so many multinationals have chosen Sri Lanka for business, such as IOC, Ashok Leyland, and how these fundamentals make Sri Lanka Asia's next growth haven. Post-war, Sri Lanka has seen a rapid GDP growth despite recent challenging years. Country is at an inflection point with USD 4,000, around USD 4,000 per capita GDP, which is roughly thrice the South Asia average. With the right policy orchestrations, this is when typically economies take off. The next wave of rapid growth is expected in South Asia and East Africa, strategically placed in Sri Lanka to take leverage of the growth opportunities. International ports and airports, as you know, are the gateways to the world. With 5 world-class gateways, Sri Lanka is a transshipment hub, fast becoming the epicenter of South Asia.
Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, says Sri Lanka has always much benefited from the free trade agreements between the two countries. High Commissioner Bagle, participating at the 3-day investment forum, which was concluded today, said that India always will be with Sri Lanka as its closest neighbour.
It has been reflected in the volume of our bilateral trade, which has been maintained even in the face of the pandemic. And over the past few years, I would like to stress that the trade has become more balanced in Sri Lanka's favor. There are 2 specific points which also I would like to highlight in the context of bilateral trade. First is the competitiveness of Indian exports. As we all know, in the last 5 years or so, only about 5% of Indian exports to Sri Lanka have used the benefits of India-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement, whereas about 60% of Sri Lanka's exports to India use the corresponding benefits. Progress on economic and technological cooperation agreement, which has been under discussion between both sides, would help in further enhancement of our trade and economic ties.
Justice Minister Ali Sabri proposes the worldwide investors that Sri Lanka's legal system is not complex, as it was derived from the Roman Dutch law and the English law, which are common to the world. He further stressed that the country also has a vibrant, independent and transparent judicial system to deal with any commercial-related issues.
The law in Sri Lanka is transparent and easy to understand. As an investor, you will see that there is no mystery in Sri Lankan law, and you will also find a level of familiarity in the legal framework as it is, to a large extent, a reflection of the English law. The commercial law and the banking law in Sri Lanka is more or less the English law, and thus the approach to transaction and the legal work will be smooth transition to what you are used to from the other parts of the world. Another factor that works to Sri Lanka's advantage is that it has a vibrant, independent judiciary. Appointment to the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal are made under the provisions of the Constitution, and there is a high level of protection to maintain the independence of the judges and their tenure. The appointment to the minor judiciary and the original courts are generally carried out by the Judicial Service Commission or on the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission by His Excellency the President.
Now we will be going for a short commercial break.
Hello. දැන් ඔයා හිතන්නේ හැමදේම වෙනස් වුනේ කොහොමද කියලානේ? උත්තරේ මගේ ළඟ තියෙනවා. නෑකම් ඕනෑකම් හඳුනගත්තා. අපිවම වෙනස් කරගන්න ක්‍රම හෙව්වා. අලුත් බීජ පැල කෙරුවා. හිතුනේ ඒක කරන්න බෑ වගේ තමයි. හැබැයි ඒක කරන්න පටන් ගන්නකම් විතරයි. ඒක දැවැන්ත එකමුතුවක්. අපි හැදුනේ එකම සබැඳියාවක බැඳීමෙන්. හැමදේම හොඳ වුණේ සබැඳියාවේ හැදීමෙන්. අපි මෙතනට ආවේම එකම එක සබැඳියාවක රැඳීමෙන්. ගෙදරට වැඩකට ගමනට එකම එක සබැඳියාවක බැඳෙන මුළු මහත් රටකට. Good morning sir, how can I help?
SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැඳියාව.
ඒත් නෑනේ පොළගාවකේ නම් තිබුණලු.
මම ගියා එහෙත් ඉවරයි.
කාර් එකයි කෝටි ගොඩයි ටිකට් එකයි දිනුම් දෙකයි සම්පත ලග්නවර්ම මාසිකම එකයි.
පරක්කු වෙලා වාසනාව නැති කරගන්න එපා.
ජාතික ලොතරැයි මණ්ඩලය.
News, views, highlights, updates and opinions. This is Wake Up With Us.
Welcome back. Justice Minister Ali Sabri also revealed that plans are underway to set up a special division at the Supreme Court to hear the appeals from the Commercial High Court. Justice Minister revealed these plans yesterday, virtually addressing Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021, which was organised by the Board of Investments, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and the Colombo Stock Exchange.
Sri Lanka has set up a specialised Commercial High Court a while ago, which is mandated to deal with commercial transaction above a threshold limit. Company law as well as the intellectual property laws are also being dealt by these courts. This court has gone a long way in overcoming the issues faced by those involved in commerce and enterprise. Currently, plans are underway to increase the number of the commercial high courts in order to further strengthen this process, which would benefit the investor. Plans are underway to set up a special division in the Supreme Court to hear appeals from the Commercial High Court. This would, in effect, fast-track the entire process, right from the institution of the action, way up to the hearing of the final appeal.
Sri Lanka's Muslim Congress leader, parliamentarian Rauf Hakim, questioned how the Litro gas officials avoided the appearing before the Committee on Public Accounts conducted by the members of the parliamentarians. SLMC leader raised this issue addressing the parliament yesterday.
Trade Minister. Now this Litro gas issue, now there's an attempt to somehow merge LAVS with Litro gas. All know LAVS terminal company is heavily indebted to the Bank of Ceylon and the People's Bank, to the tune of almost 22 billion for both the state banks. Now what is the government attempt to do? They are trying to bail out the LAVS businessman. Maybe the businessman may be close to the government. So to bail him out, now they are looking at a different issue of creating a PPP, a public-private partnership to bail out somebody who has mismanaged their work, and the government goes on to even allege that Litro gas. Now, government itself says a good restructuring initiative is important. Litro is corrupt and makes money out of spot buying with only 3 days of stock capacity. Now, the government source have been telling this to the
Muslim Congress leader and parliamentarian Rauf Hakim also charged the government for being failed to admit that the COVID-19 virus was spreading in the society at the right time. He also told the parliamentarians that most of the relevant subject ministers are attending to businesses of others, neglecting the assigned responsibilities.
They went on talking about the Nivea cluster, and they had always talked about the Paliagoda cluster, the Brandix cluster, but then avoided admitting that there was a community spread. This is what has happened. Now the community spread has come to a position where it is virtually unmanageable. Deaths are increasing day by day. This quite clearly shows that this is the worst month for Sri Lanka.
Honourable Member, you have 2 more minutes. You have 2 more minutes.
Yeah, while that situation remains as it is, they are going about beating around the bush. The health minister doesn't talk about COVID. She comes and talks about the fertilizer. The shipping minister talks about the health issues, COVID-19, avoiding talking about the Express Pearl disaster.
Stay tuned for stock updates.
Unlimited නම් මිතින් SLT Mobitel Unlimited Internet. හැමෝටම ෆිට වෙන හෝම් සහ මොබයිල් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් පැකේජ් පෙළක්. කුරු වෙන්න අපේ Unlimited Internet වලට. SLT Mobitel එකම එක සැබඳියාව.
ඒත් නෑනේ. පොළගාවේ නම් තිබුණලු.
මම ගියා. එහෙත් ඉවරයි.
කාර් එකයි කෝටි ගොඩයි ටිකට් එකයි දිනුම් දෙකයි සම්පත ලග්නවර්ම මාසිකම එකයි.
පරක්කු වෙලා වාසනාව නැති කරගන්න එපා.
ජාතික ලොතරැයි මණ්ඩලය. දැන් නිවසේ සිටම ආරක්ෂාකාරීව පහසුවෙන් SLT Mobitel හෝම් බිල්පත් කළදොර සිදු කරන්න ඔබට පුළුවන්. MyCity app එක හරහා SLT Mobitel වෙබ් අඩවියෙන් බිල්පතේ QR කේතියෙන් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් බැංකින් හා බැංකින් ඇප් මගින් ඔබේ ආරක්ෂාව වෙනුවෙන් වගකීම් ඉටු කරන SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැදියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained by 22.06 points to close at 7,564.26, and the S&P SL20 gained by 9.46 points to close at 3,042.47. The turnover was 1.47 billion rupees and over 83 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all the news we have for you today. Tune in tomorrow at the same time with the State of Business on our television. Take care and good night.